Hi guys, welcome to PHP Demi. Today's tutorial is going to be on contact form with MySQL and PHP mailer. Here are some functions of a contact form. 1. It is used to collect information. 2. It helps to protect user privacy. That means user email cannot be exposed to the general public on the web. 3. Some forms can trigger automated messages to let sender know that their message has been received. Overall, a contact form serves as a bridge between you, the website user, and you, the website owner. So now that we already know what a contact form is, and we're interested in learning how to build one, but before we jump into the code, I'd like to share my website. It's a baby website, phpdemi.com. So all the courses on this channel are already there, so you can head on there and click on any of the link and download, or you can just read the post there. And thank you for all your support so far. I must appreciate. I'm grateful. So like I always do, we are now in our code editor. I'll just briefly go through the codes and before we kickstart the main topic for the day. So this is the config file where all your credentials reside, just like the .env file in Laravel and Code Igniter. So this also serves the same purpose. So this is our base URL. So any of the codes you download from the website, always make sure you open the config file and then also the required changes. Here are your data SQL credentials. So each of the credentials is given a name. They are all an array in an array. So they are all arrays in an array rather. So this is for cookie, this is for encryption, and then this is for our PHP mailer. So when you download the file, you go ahead and make all the necessary changes to fit your requirements. Also, this is for the type in our email class. So we have switches there, which is able to dictate which of the email to send and which not to. So having said all this, let's now begin before then, also we'll take a look at our controllers. In our controllers, we have just two files there: the base controller, which is the home, and then the error controller. And then in the view, we also have just two files, that of the error and then the welcome page of our application. So let's also go to the browser and see how the page looks like. So this is the welcome page. Has nothing there. We only let's open it. So this is it. It has nothing in it. So we only have our view file, which is the index, which is this file. So we'll start coding from scratch. So to begin, we'll first of all create the form. After creating the form, then we'll go ahead and begin to implement the back-end codes, which is our processing codes. So let's have a div with a class row, and we have another div with a class of column large 6, and then another class of offset, and then let's say they just put okay, sorry, that was not what I wanted to. so we can just view it. So now we have centered our form. We can begin to work on the form. So we say form post. We'll come back to action later. Bootstrap 5 input. So this helps in hastening our job. So we have our first field here. Let's go on and view it. So this is what it's going to look like. Don't worry about this text. It's going to be very useful in the near future. So let's head back to our code editor and then copy this, and then we add so we have email here. Here should be email, and here should be enter your email. Next is going to be, okay, we already copied that. So next is going to be text area. So we just remove this and write text area. So we give it a name, message, remove the ID, and then we can give it a class of form control. So this is how our contact form. So one more thing, I want to put this in a card so that it looks nice and tidy. So I'll just come up here and then write div of card, and then inside the div we have card header, right? Header. Inside of the card header we have we can now, okay, let's say send us a message today. Okay, let's put this in H5, and then down here we have the body. So we have a card body. Now this way we can copy all of this, and then we'll paste. So let's check our browser and see. All right, so this is what we wanted, and then we can make we can now give this card a class of bg white. So we add a class of b white to the card, and then let's give the body a class of bg dark. So we want only the card to be white. All right, and then this text here should have a class of text white, and then the text here should have a class of text white. All right, so now we'll go ahead and then add the footer. So we can just copy this, head back here, and then add it down here, and then we have a footer, this is where it's going to have the button submit. So, and then we give it a class of button, and then button, and then bit small, and then btn primary, and then we add send message. So let's see what we've done so far. All right, so our form is ready, and we can now begin to validate our form fields in our controller. So we are now in our controller. I guess we should change this to contact form. So there is nothing really special we've done here, just that we're just going to begin to add some of the properties in which we're going to use. So here we have our home, and then it's extending the base controller. So if you want to know more about this particular framework, it works same way as Laravel and Code Igniter and the likes. So you can go watch the video on the framework. I have it on my channel, and then go over to my website and download it. So we have properties. So the first we have is public, and then it's going to be the requests. Then we also have the redirect, because we're going to be redirecting after successfully sending our message or inserting the message in our database. Now we are also going, since we'll be using a database, that means we'll have to use a model. So we are also going to require a model. So we have let's say contact model. Now next we are going to create our construct method. So let's instantiate our request class. So we say this request is equal. Now we say if request is not null, then we should instantiate it. So we say request. So what we did here is simple. The expression here checks if the request is not null, and if it is true that it's not null, then it assigns the value request to this request, and if it is false, then let's create a new instance for request. Then next we are going to instantiate our redirect. So we say this redirect is equal new redirect, and then finally we instantiate our model class, in which we are going to create in a moment. So we'll just leave it there. Let's just add the comment model class here later. Now the next thing we are going to do is start validating our forms. So in order to begin our form validation, let's first of all declare our data variable to be an empty array. Now we also come down here and add data. So in okay, that will come later anyway. So let's start with the statement of conditional statement of if. So we say if the request is post, so we say if this request is post. So post is a predefined method in our request class. So you can, when you download this, you can go and check there and you'll see all of that. And we say now once this condition is met, everything within this block of code should be true. So also, before we go ahead, we also have to check our CSRF. Next, we should start validating. So okay, let me just add a comment here. Say validate CSRF token, and then next we should validate our input field. Okay, first of all we'll declare, sorry about that, input variables. So we have from our form we have 3 input fields. We have our name, we have email, and then we have message. Sorry, we didn't change this, so this will be message. And then let's begin with name. So we have the variable name, so let's give it a full name, and this should be this request data. So the input name in the form is full name, so we have full name there. Next is email, and then we also say this request data email, and then finally we have message, and then we say this request data, then message. Now it's time we begin to validate our fields. Let's declare the variable for our validation rule class by instantiating it. So we say rule new validation rules. So the validation rule is already pre-installed in our application. You will see it in the core. Here is it. So that's why it's popping up. So I think let's bring this down. So let's instantiate, let's say instantiate validation rule, validation rules class. Then we come down and paste this. Now let's begin our validation. So we say So we say if the validation row for required field, if it is empty for the name field, then display this error. So if the validation rule for required field is not fulfilled, then we say data error of full name. We are going to see all of this in a moment. Name required, so name is required. Also we can copy this and change this to email. Here also should be email. Oh, sorry about that. Email is required, so here should be error email, and then there should be message. Change this to message, and this also to message. Now this are the validation for until field. There are also other validations that we are going to look at in just a moment. So in order to add other validation fields, like to ensure that whatever the person is inserting, okay, let's just go and verify if these ones are already working. So we say if data is empty, that means if everything is fulfilled, there is no error, then we should proceed. So before we can nothing is displaying, so let's go back to our code. Okay, to be able to see our error messages, we first of all have to do something here. So we say text, this text should be danger. This class of text should be danger. In order for us to be able to view our error messages, we just add a few lines of PHP code. So we say this is a short form for echo. If it is set data error full name, I think that was what we used, display the error, otherwise leave it blank. So we say data error full name. This now will enable us to view our error messages. Let's go in and try it and see. It's not displaying, so we'll take a good look at that. We have error full name. Let's go and see what's our error name. Error full name. So our error isn't displaying. We have not activated the action, and as well, okay, this should be capitals. Post the base URL, since it's the index of our base URL, we're using the home controller, so we first the index there should be home because it's the home controller. So, and then okay, let's copy this and then come down here and paste, and also come down here and paste. Let's also go back here and copy error email and paste error email, and then let's copy for message as well, paste and paste. So let's save. So now let's try again and see. Alright, so our validation form is working okay. If you insert if you type in your name, the validation for the error message for name is gone. So let's go back to, okay, one more thing. If you look at this, as soon as we click the placeholder is gone, the text in the input field is gone. So to fix this, we use a function. We have the function right here in our helper. So we say old, we just copy this, and then we go to our input field, and then we add value, and then we paste that. Okay, we now paste that here, and then we get the name of the field. So let's go back again and try. It's empty. So when you input this as our name and you submit, you see it retains the old value. So now, since our validation field is working okay, it's about time we add more validations to our validation form. So this is our validation class. This was the one we used for the required. So this is for email, to ensure that email is the text imputed is a valid email. We'll come to that in a moment. Let's finish with the name. So minimum length of a string, we can copy this and then head back to our controller. Now to add another validation, we say else if, then we have if the rule is not satisfied, then we paste this. Now the string here should be full name, and then the argument here should be minimum of 3. So sorry about that, here should be a $, and then we save. So now if we head back to our here, if we we are here to give out the error message, so we simply say copy that and paste. So we say name should be at least 3 characters. If we save and we go to our browser and we remove 1 and then we click, it tells us that name should be at least 1 character. Then let's also try for email. So we head back to our validation, then we copy for email, then we head back to our controller and add an else if the rule is not satisfied for email, then display an error message as well. So we have our email, we say enter a valid email. Now we'll go down here and then we refresh, and then we enter an email, a text, it tells us that we should enter a valid email. So let's go back to our form and then add the old value there as well. So we can copy this. There is no need to retain the old message. You should be sure of what you want to send to the website owner, so I don't think it's necessary. So we save that and then we try again and we view this. Now it retains it. So here when we make it above 3 and we send, that goes away. And here if we add a valid email, error also goes away. So now we also have maximum length. So let's add another validation for message. So let's say else if, let's copy this to make it a bit faster. Else if message, okay, max length, so this is minimum length and this is max length. So if you want your sender to send you a specific, a limited number of text in your email, then you can limit it here. So we say, for example, 20. So we say message exceed more than 20 characters. When we refresh this and then we just type this is absolutely above 20 and then we try. Okay, because we didn't change this to message, so I will change that to message. And then okay, I think there is a need for us to add the old text. So we go back to the index, we just copy this excluding the value and then we'll paste here and then we add our message and then let's go back and refresh. So our message is back. So now when we make it below 20, I hope it's still below, it's still above, so let's make it below 20. It should absolutely be below 20. The error goes away. So these are some of the few ways you can validate. There are a lot of other functions there, other methods rather, in the validation class that you could use to tighten the security of your contact form. So you can head to my website, download it, and you will see all the files there, and you experiment on it. Now, since we are done with our validations, it's now time to send our message. But before then, we'll like to send a message and then insert the data into a database. So this is not just a contact form, but also to keep us close to the messages we have, just in case something goes wrong with our email and we can view messages. We can absolutely go to our database and then retrieve them from there. So let's head back and see how we can do this. So to begin the process of inserting our contact form information into the database, we will first of all go and create a database, and then create followed by the model class. So let's head over to our browser and then go to our PHP admin. So we are in our PHP admin. So to create a new database, we just write the name of our database here, and then we click on create. Now let's create a table. So we say contact list, contact underscore list. So we have how many fields? We have 3 fields, so that means we are going to have 4 fields, including the primary key field. So we have and then it's integer, and then it should be auto incremental. Then next is the full name, and then this should be varchar, and then let's give it a length of 20, or let's say 30. And then next is email, which is also varchar. Let's give it a length of 128, and then the last one should be message, and then let's give it a length of a type of text, since you control absolute control it from your controller file, so we can leave it at that. Now we'll save. So now our database and table is ready. Let's go and configure our config file, so that so we'll come down here and have it as contact list. That is our DB name, contact list. So I think we are good to go. Let's head down to our model, and then we'll create a file. We'll call it contact model.php, and then we declare our PHP opening tag, and then we have our class of our contact model that extends the model, which give us access to the database. Now, to first and foremost, you would like to want to retrieve your messages from your database to view them in your secure pages. So we'll come to that in a moment. First of all, let's see how we can add this contact form into our database. So we have our comment here, add contact list. Also, this contact form can be used as an email list, since we are already collecting emails as well. So we say public function add contact, then the parameters for our contact is full name, email, and then message. We can say query should be equal to insert into our table name is what's our table name again? Our table name is contact list. Okay, our database name is contact and our table name is contact list. So we have to go back and make some corrections there. Insert into contact list, which is a table name. So we have our query. Next, before then, let's go back and make some corrections. This should be contact, not contact list. So now that we have that out of the way, next we are going to prepare our query. So we say this db prepare our query there. So we have query. Next is binding the values. So we say, okay, I think it's best I give it some comments. So let's say prepare statement. Here should be declare query, and then we have prepare the query statement. So here should be declare the query statement, and then we have our bind values. So we say this db, we are calling the connection. When we say this db, when you go to the database class and the model class, you will see the conjunction there. So we say bind value. So we have name, write a full name, and then we bind it to the parameter full name. We can copy this, paste, and then paste again. So we just copy this, and we highlight this and paste. We also highlight this and paste. Then we go for message, we highlight this, and then we paste, highlight, and then we paste. Now it's time we execute the statement. So we say this db execute, then we return true. If we were going to just insert emails information in the database, this would have been okay, would have been perfect. But because we want to insert as well as send an email at the same time, so it is always advisable for us to begin a transaction and then we commit a transaction. Committing ensures that both inserting into the database and sending email are well executed. So let's go up here, and then we write a statement, begin transaction. So we have already declared a class for transaction up in our database. So we say this db begin transaction. Also we commit here, commit transaction. So we say this db commit. I think we are good to go. Let's test this out before we now begin to work on the emails. So we head back to our home controller, and then we'll come down here after in our empty data block, and then we declare result or whatever you want to call it, and then we I just remembered before. Let's do away with this and then save. Let's go back up we already left a reminder here that we were going to call in the instance of our model class. So let's do that. So say this our model is a contact model is equal to, so we say this model, and we call the name of that model, we say contact model, and then we'll close that. Now this will give us the ability to connect our model to our controller. So let's go down here and then resume where we started. So we say results, and then we say this contact model, and then the name of our method in our model is, okay, let's just copy all that we have here and then head back here, and then we'll paste that. So we close this. Now we say if what we have above is true, so we say if result is true, then we should send a success message. So we say session set. Now we have for success, and then the message, I like to use single, so we say message sent success, sorry about that, successfully, and then we redirect. So this redirect to, then we have home, which is our base controller, which is where we are working. So let's go on and try it quickly. So we already have something here, so let's just see if it works. So we have this, then we have this, and we say test. Okay, it's not displaying a message, so but let's check our table. All right, so message is data are entering, but it's not displaying message. Remember, the first message was this, and then the second message was test. So let's go and then check why our success message is not displaying. So I just discovered that why we're not getting the success alert was because we, after a successful operation, we didn't kill that particular session, so it kept mounting and mounting on the previous session and making it difficult to echo any other session. So now I have added this line of PHP function, and then let's go back and try again. So we'll insert our previous data. Let's say hello world, our PHP anthem, right? And then we have our success message. So now that we have successfully been able to add our information from the data contact form to a database. So this is hello world. So let's see how we can now send an email to the person, and then possibly, okay, how we can send an email to ourselves as the website owner. So to send an email, we can do this in two ways. We can, depending on what we are actually working on. If we are to retrieve data from the database and use it in the mail, then we have to call the email class in our model. But since we are not going to be retrieving any information from the database and then using it in our email, so it is preferable for us to use to call the email class in our controller. So again, before we go ahead, so you have to make some changes in your config file under the mailer array, and then down here I have already set up my configurations for my email, my contact form. You can see the templates template class being called here, and then the method for get contact body is also called. So here is you're familiar with PHP mailer. So all of these are gotten from either the form or from our config file. So I already recorded the video, and unfortunately it got corrupted, and I have to rush it right now. So I'll just go ahead and paste the code. So data here is just a collection of the variables above, and then we pass it on to the email class and the method of send email. So it's right here. Now send email has 4 parameters. That's why we have to separate it into 4 places, and then we save this, and also the templates. Now the way we have set our email class, our switch, this switch is actually what we have here. So if you want to add another email body, you can just give it a name and then give it number 2. Now here we have sent from. Now we get the person's email and then the person's name, and then reply to, we inserted the data we got from the contact form, and then the subject is gotten from here. This is subject, and then address to is gotten from the config file as well. You will also see the setting from the downloaded file. So next we are going into the template class. So the method gets contact body. So here I left it this way so that you can be able to paste your HTML file, HTML template rather. So let me just give it a comment there. You can paste your HTML email template in the, let me give you the hyphen there. So in between the 2 hyphen here, you just paste. But since I will not be using a template, I will just go ahead and call the body the data, the message rather, data message, so that we can, so sorry, this is data, not dates. So when we save this, I think we are good to go. Let's head over to our browser and then try to see if our email is going to be sent. So we are now in my mailbox. So as you can see, the primary is empty, everything is empty. So let's head back to our contact form and then let's input the details required, and then let's say edit page check, and then I say hello everyone, and remember we can't send above 20 because that was the condition, the maximum limit that is allowed. So let's say hello everyone, how are you? Let's see if our validation is still working. So it's exceeded 20, so let's delete from here and then try again. So it seems it's below 20 now, so let's expect something. Fine, message has been sent. Now let's head on to our inbox and check. All right, so message is delivered, and then we have our message body. So this is the beauty of having a template separate from everything you have, so that you can be able to organize it properly and nicely. So guys, this is how much we can take on this particular tutorial. Please endeavor to subscribe, like and share. If this video helped you in any way, please don't forget. I appreciate